The number 7 has always carried an air of mystery, a vibration that whispers of hidden truths, sacred knowledge, and the eternal quest for meaning. Across cultures and throughout history, 7 is a number that appears again and again in places of reverence. The 7 heavens, the 7 chakras, the 7 days of creation, the 7 sacred planets of the ancients. When we speak of the life path number 7 in numerology, we are not speaking of an ordinary journey. We are speaking of a soul born into the path of the seeker, the philosopher, the mystic who walks between the known and the unknown, forever reaching for the veil that separates the material from the spiritual. To live as a life path 7 is to be invited into a lifelong pilgrimage of the mind and spirit, where solitude becomes sanctuary and silence reveals the secrets of existence. The story of the 7 begins with an inner pull, a subtle awareness from childhood that there is more to life than meets the eye. While others may be content to move with the rhythm of society, to accept appearances as reality, the 7 feels the itch of questions that cannot be silenced. Why are we here? What is the hidden order beneath the chaos? What lies beyond the curtain of death and birth? These are not idle curiosities for the 7. They are burning questions, a call from the soul itself demanding answers. And so the 7 begins a lifelong dance with wisdom, a solitary but sacred path that sets them apart. Personality-wise, those who walk under the number 7 often embody a quiet, introspective presence. They may not be the loudest voice in the room, but their silence is not emptiness, it is depth. They listen, they observe, they analyze. A 7 carries an aura of contemplation, as though they are half in this world and half elsewhere, communing with thoughts and visions that others cannot access. Their minds are sharp, their intuition sharper. They can cut through the noise of illusion and glimpse patterns invisible to ordinary sight. Often, people feel drawn to them, sensing a wisdom that cannot easily be explained. To meet a 7 is to encounter someone who seems tuned to a different frequency, one that hums with the vibrations of the eternal. But the 7's gift is also their challenge. Their love of solitude, of retreat, of mental exploration can sometimes isolate them from others. It is not that they dislike people, but rather that the chatter of daily life feels shallow compared to the vast oceans of thought they swim within. Relationships may feel heavy, distracting, or even suffocating if they are not rooted in spiritual depth and intellectual resonance. A 7 is not meant for small talk. They yearn for conversations that touch the infinite, for partnerships that feel like soul contracts rather than casual companionships. When a 7 finds such a connection, it becomes a bond of profound loyalty and devotion. But when they do not, they may withdraw, preferring solitude to the compromises of superficiality. The strengths of the Life Path 7 are many. They are thinkers, philosophers, seekers of truth. They have a natural ability to research, to study, to dig into mysteries until they uncover the core essence. Many 7s excel in academic, scientific, or spiritual pursuits, where their analytical minds and intuitive hearts can merge into profound discoveries. They are visionaries, capable of bridging the gap between reason and faith, science and spirituality. At their best, they show others that truth is not a single path, but a weaving of many threads, each leading toward the same eternal light. Yet alongside these strengths come shadows. The 7's analytical nature can make them overly skeptical, critical, or detached. In their quest for truth, they may dismiss what they cannot prove, cutting themselves off from the very mysteries they long to understand. Their solitude, if unchecked, can turn into isolation, leading to loneliness or mistrust of others. Some 7s become so withdrawn that they build walls around their hearts, fearing vulnerability, fearing betrayal. Others may struggle with cynicism, feeling that the world is too shallow to ever truly meet their depth. These are the trials of the seven, the tests they must pass to evolve into their highest self. Spiritually, the journey of a seven is profound. They are seekers of enlightenment, and whether they know it or not, their souls are guided to awakening. Many sevens feel a deep connection to mystical traditions, to ancient wisdom, to the esoteric teachings hidden in sacred texts. They are often drawn to meditation, yoga, mysticism, or philosophy, finding nourishment in practices that quiet the outer world and open the inner one. For the seven, truth is not something taught, it is something revealed in silence, in solitude, in communion with the divine. They must learn to trust their intuition as much as their logic, for the true path of the seven is a merging of both, the intellect of the mind and the wisdom of the spirit. Relationships for a life path 7 are never casual. These souls crave partners who understand their depth, who can share in their intellectual and spiritual explorations. They may struggle with romantic relationships early in life, as their need for independence can clash with the demands of intimacy. Yet when a 7 meets someone who respects their solitude while also offering profound companionship, the relationship can blossom into a union that feels timeless. 7s are loyal and devoted once they commit, but they must guard against becoming too detached or mistrustful, lest they sabotage the very love they desire. Friendships, too, must be chosen carefully. A 7 does not need a crowd, they need a few kindred spirits who understand their quiet nature and their relentless search for truth.
In careers, 7s often excel in fields that require deep thought, analysis, and research. They may be drawn to science, philosophy, psychology, spirituality, or the arts, where their insights can shine. They are natural teachers and guides, though they may resist positions that thrust them too far into the spotlight. Their wisdom often calls them into roles where they can illuminate others, not by loudness, but by depth. Some 7s become writers, leaving behind words that awaken generations. Others become spiritual teachers, scientists, or philosophers whose discoveries shape human understanding. Whatever their path, 7s are most fulfilled when they feel their work connects to truth, to meaning, to the greater mysteries of existence. The spiritual lessons of the 7 are layered and complex. First, they must learn balance between solitude and connection. While retreat is necessary for their growth, they must also open their hearts to others, learning trust and vulnerability. Second, they must embrace faith as much as reason, recognizing that not all truths can be proven and that mystery itself is sacred. Third, they must overcome the temptation of cynicism, choosing wonder over doubt, awe over skepticism. In doing so, they step into their true power as mystics, as guides, as souls who remind humanity of the unseen dimensions of reality. The soul evolution of a 7 often begins with skepticism, doubt, and a sense of alienation. They may feel misunderstood, alone in their thoughts, separate from the crowd. But as life unfolds, they are drawn deeper into their own inner sanctuary, discovering wisdom in silence and strength in solitude. They learn that their path is not about fitting in, but about embodying truth. With time, the 7 emerges as a sage, a wise soul who has walked the desert of isolation and returned with the waters of wisdom. They become a lantern bearer, illuminating paths for others, guiding those who seek to pierce the illusions of the material world and glimpse the eternal light beyond. To understand the 7 is to understand paradox. They are both analytical and intuitive, skeptical and spiritual, solitary yet longing for connection. They are a mirror of humanity's eternal struggle, the balance between the seen and the unseen, the known and the unknown. They remind us that truth is not found in the clamor of the crowd, but in the stillness of the soul. They teach that solitude is not loneliness, but sacred communion, that silence is not emptiness, but fullness of spirit. Through their journey, they reveal that the universe is not just matter and motion, but mystery and meaning, and that within each of us lies a spark of the divine waiting to be discovered. As the seven walks their path, they are guided by archetypes of the sage, the mystic, the philosopher, and the hermit. These are not roles of weakness, but of immense power. For it is the hermit who, in retreat, finds the lantern that lights the world. It is the mystic who, in silence, hears the voice of God. It is the philosopher who, in questioning, uncovers truth. The seven embodies these archetypes, reminding us that the greatest journeys are not always outward, but inward, into the caverns of the self where the soul meets eternity. The life of a seven may not always be easy. They may wrestle with loneliness, with doubt, with the heavy weight of questions that never fully resolve. But in these struggles lies their treasure. For every moment of solitude polishes the mirror of their soul. Every doubt deepens their faith. Every unanswered question opens a new dimension of understanding. And when they emerge from the labyrinth, they emerge not as wanderers, but as guides, their very being a testament to the power of truth, wisdom, and spirit. So if you are a Life Path 7, know this: your path is sacred. You may not always feel understood, but you are never alone. You are part of a lineage of seekers, sages, and mystics who have walked this path before you, each leaving behind breadcrumbs of wisdom for you to follow. Trust your journey. Trust your solitude. Trust that the questions you carry are not burdens but blessings, for they are the very keys that unlock the mysteries of the universe. And when the world feels shallow, remember that you are here not to sink into the surface, but to remind others of the depths. You are the lantern in the dark, the whisper of truth in the noise, the seeker who shows us that the journey inward is the greatest adventure of all. The Life Path 7 is not just a number. It is a calling. It is the call to seek, to question, to dive into the mysteries of existence and return with treasures of wisdom. It is the reminder that the universe is not a machine, but a miracle, that life is not random, but meaningful, that beneath the surface of appearances lies a divine order waiting to be discovered. To walk this path is to walk between worlds, balancing reason and faith, solitude and connection, intellect and intuition. And though it may sometimes feel lonely, it is a path of immense beauty, because it leads to the heart of truth itself. So take heart, seeker. Embrace your solitude, but also open your heart. Question boldly, but also trust gently. Walk your path with courage, knowing that every step, every silence, every moment of wonder brings you closer to the eternal truth your soul has always known. And when you reach the end of this journey, you will not only have discovered the mysteries of the universe, you will have discovered yourself, the eternal spark of divinity that has been guiding you all along. That is the gift of the seven. That is your sacred path.